Hey everyone, Renee here with Science Loves Art. Today we're going to talk about color theory. And color theory sounds like a complicated issue, but really it's how do we understand color and the way that our human eyes can see color in nature. It's fun to think about the colors in nature and compare those to the color wheel. Do you see colors mixing, blues and reds making purple? Do you notice colors that are contrasting and complementary on the color wheel? We also notice that colors are next to each other on the color wheel, yellows, oranges, and reds. Someone that you will recognize is Isaac Newton, and in 1665 he created the first color wheel. He was super curious about the rainbow and ran a white light through a prism, and an array of colors from the prism were shown on the wall. So he documented all of these colors in a color wheel. And because he was interested in the connection between art, music, math, astronomy, and physics, he was really interested in seeing the world through all of these different viewpoints, which many scientists and artists do that today. And we should all learn from this and begin to see and use art and science together as we see the world. Isaac's first color wheel had 7 colors, and he related that to music, the 7 notes of our musical keyboard, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So you'll see his color wheel had those letters on that for him to organize and categorize what he was seeing. It ends up that the color wheel that he started is still in use today, although we've modified it and we've made it a little bit simpler for us to use based on our needs. It's fun to use the color wheel when mixing colors, and we'd like to encourage you guys to do that today. So you'll have yellow, red, and blue, and Ivy will show you a little bit about how to mix your own colors. As you create colors today, you can refer to this image and also the simple color wheel in your kit, and just make your own colors. Create colors and document how you made those colors. Paint the samples on a piece of paper and collect different colors that are your own recipes. All right, let's get started. Please take out these items from your kit. You'll continue to use your pan for your water. You've got your palette for mixing your paint, your 2 brushes, the 3 primary colors specifically for this series, and your marbling paper. Feel free to use other paper that you have, copy paper or other papers, to continue to experiment with your colors.
Today we're going to be talking about color theory with your marbling kits. So with color theory, you start with the 3 primary colors. So you have blue, yellow, and red. So we're going to start mixing our primary colors. A little bit of paint goes a long way with the marbling inks. So we'll start with 1 drop of blue and 1 drop of yellow. What do we think 1 drop of blue and 1 drop of yellow is going to make? Whoops, that was 2. That's all right. Mix those together. Get your brush nice and saturated, and then you're going to just meet the tip of your brush with the surface of the water. You don't want to dip it all the way in. And you get green. So as you can see, you have some colors across from each other on the color wheel. So we start with our primaries like we've been doing with the paints, yellow, red, and blue. And then the secondary colors are when you mix the 2 primaries. So with red and blue, we get purple. With blue and yellow, we get green. And with red and yellow, we get orange. You can see that they overlap on our color wheel. If you look at the opposite side of the color wheel, you've probably heard the term contrasting colors. So the contrasting colors are the colors that are directly opposite each other on the color wheel. So for instance, we have orange across from blue, we have green across from red, and we have purple across from yellow. So if we want to create a nice contrasting print on our watercolor paper, I started with green, so then I'll choose red to make a nice contrasting design. So again, a little bit goes a long way. 2 drops of red. Make sure you designate one brush for one color and one brush for another, so you don't get them confused and make brown. So I will dip my red on the water. There we go. Red is really effective in spreading. And it doesn't take a lot of paint. You can just go back and forth and you'll know when you need more, but you don't need to reapply paint every time. So I'm putting my green brush back in the green, red. And as you build more and more, the color gets more vibrant. And you'll notice on the surface of the water, the colors will not mix. They just spread from each other. Okay, so let's see what it looks like once we put our paper on. I'm gonna bow my paper and then drop it on the water, 1, 2, 3, and then I get my print. You wanna pick it up pretty quickly so that the paper doesn't rip. So you've got this, yay, red and green contrasting. Then we can clean off our brushes. Make sure you clean them really well or you're gonna end up with brown. And that's okay if you want brown, but we're trying to mix some colors. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we mix red and blue. Again, I'm gonna do just a little bit of paint because you can see how much I have left. I'll do a drop of blue and a drop of red. And then with your clean brush, you can rub it on your paper towel to make sure that it's clean. Sometimes it takes a minute. You're gonna want to mix the red and the blue together. And you don't wanna have a lot of water left on your brush or that's just gonna water down your paints and your color won't be as vibrant. So let's see what happens. Mix in red and blue. And we get purple. So you can see that on your color wheel as well. Red and blue make purple. Purple's in the middle. So if we wanna do a more muted, we'll do the opposite of contrast. We'll do 2 colors that are in the same color family. So we could do purple and then blue. So I'll do blue right next to it. Purple and blue are also cool colors. So we have either warm colors or blue or cool colors. Cool blue, they rhyme. So those are going to be more subdued, more muted, but still pretty together. Warm colors, on the other hand, would be red, orange, yellow, and coincidentally, they kind of coincide with nature. You have fire, and that's warm. You have sun, and that's warm, and they all match their colors. So you can see what I did here. There's a big blue blob on the bottom of my water, and that's a good example of when you have too much paint on your brush. So make sure you just have a little bit, and you just touch the surface of the water. So again, I'm just layering my purple and my blue. Kind of makes a cool bullseye. And you can get crazy with it. You can put your circles anywhere you want. They don't have to all be right on top of each other. You can make swirlies. Okay, so now I'm going to drop my paper and we're gonna see what these 2 muted colors look like together. All right. So we've got purple and blue and even a little green and red that kind of hung out from the last print. It's yellow and blue. We've mixed red and blue. Now we need to mix red and yellow. Based on our color wheel, I bet you guys probably know what's going to happen next. I already have some red in my palette, so I'm going to go ahead and utilize that and just drop a drop of yellow in there. There we go. And you'll notice when you're mixing these colors, the more of one color that you mix, if you would mix 2 drops of yellow and just 1 drop of red, the color that you come up with is going to be more on the yellow side rather than red, so it'll be lighter. So consider that when you're mixing. And you should play around with that. Play around with the different amount of drops that you use when you are mixing colors. So we've got, this is still looking pretty red, so I think just because I want it to be a little bit lighter, I'm going to put another drop of yellow in. And you got bubbles. Okay, so put that on top of the water. And we've got orange. You can see it in here, it looks very orange. So I'm gonna build that a bit. And I want this to be contrasting. So if I'm gonna do the contrast color, what do you guys think that I'm gonna use to contrast with the orange? It's across from the color wheel. I'm gonna use blue. All right, so I still have some blue left. And again, oop, doing my bullseye. Oh, I have too much paint there, but look at that. And you'll notice the more that you build on the surface of the water, the more the colors kind of hang out, because there's been some surface tension that's built up. Okay, so now it's kind of naturally making a zigzag line. I might like play with that and I turn my brush upside down so I don't get water on the tip of my brush, because that's going to dilute your colors. So if you turn it upside down, then you don't dilute your colors, but you still get these cool designs. And then I'm going to drop this on paper. And make sure you only have one page, because sometimes they get stuck together. Sweet. And now I have my contrasting blue and orange design.